Release that witch. Episode 5. The reason. The second law of thermodynamics, heat cannot flow from a colder body to a hotter one without other effects. No process can convert heat from a single source entirely into useful work. And in any irreversible thermodynamic process, entropy always increases. Rowland copied this law out neatly onto paper in the script of this world. At first glance, it looked rather like earthworm tracks. He truly could not fathom how the locals ever mastered such a fussy writing system.
Of all the laws of physics, which is the dullest? I would pick the second law of thermodynamics. Heat forever flows from high to low. Disorder replaces order. Entropy grows and grows until everything returns to nothing and the universe falls silent. But this world is free of entropy's tyranny. Magic creates something from nothing that is greater than a perpetual motion machine. The devil's power? Please! They have no idea what this power truly is. Taken far enough, it could change the entire universe. For now though, we start by changing Border Town.
Humming a little tune, Rowland tore off the page and tossed it into the fireplace. Watching it turn to ash in the flames gave him a strange thrill, like watching a cage annihilated. The minister's assistant watched the fourth prince's inexplicable behavior in total bewilderment. Fortunately, the prince had always been like this, whimsical and erratic, and Barov could see he was in an excellent mood.
It is done. The witch was hanged at noon.
No one saw through it, I trust. They all wore hoods anyway.
To keep both the church and the Witch Cooperation Association off his doorstep, Rowland had ordered the warden to find a death row prisoner of similar build to take Anna's place. And everyone present that day, except the chief knight and the minister's assistant, had received 20 gold royals as hush money. For them, it was an exceedingly generous sum. Barov had once suggested silencing the witnesses forever. Rowland rejected it flatly. He knew secrets like this could not be kept for long, and it did not matter. He rather hoped someone would spread the word, just not yet. A break with the church was only a matter of time. Who could tolerate those idiots squandering such resources? When other witches learned there was a town on the kingdom's border where they could live freely, even be well treated, what would they think? In any era, talent is what matters most.
That will be all for that then. Next, compile for me a summary of Border Town's trade, taxes and necessary expenditures over the past year. And count the workshops in town. Smithies, weavers, potters, and the like. Numbers and scale.
Compiling these records will take 3 days, but...
Barov nodded first, then hesitated, clearly holding something back.
What else is there?
Rowland knew the time had come to test his gift of gab. Yesterday's deeds would raise questions sooner or later. A wastrel was a wastrel, but a foul temper did not mean a hollow skull. Hiding a witch? In the assistant's eyes, that was making an enemy of the entire world.
Your Highness, I do not understand. In the past you were unruly, yes, but always in harmless ways. Why take such an enormous risk to save a witch? The hunting of witches is the church's law, but your father, His Majesty Wimbledon, also endorses it wholeheartedly.
Rowland thought for a moment, then answered with a question.
Do you think Border Town is a good place?
Well, not particularly. No.
It is thoroughly wretched. Compared to Golden Wheat City and Clearwater Port, what do you reckon are my chances against my dear brothers and sisters?
The assistant opened his mouth, but no answer came out.
Almost zero, so I can only take another path. A path that will leave a deep impression on my father.
Rowland watched with a straight face as the other man stepped, little by little, into the trap he had laid. He had deliberately not approached from the angle of whether witches were truly evil. That would achieve little. Barov had served 20 years beside the Minister of Finance and was a qualified politician. For politicians, interest persuades far better than good and evil. Nor did an appeal to sentiment suit him. Recalling the fourth prince's past deeds, Rowland knew he was hardly of the kind and lawful alignment. So he chose the eternal conflict between secular crown and religious mitre as his entry point. The church's swelling power was already a thorn in Wimbledon, the third's heart. The church claimed the world turned by God's will. and the Pope was God's spokesman. If the people discovered his words were not truth either, full of holes like anyone else's, the Church's dominion would be shaken to its roots.
However prosperously my brothers and sisters govern their lands, it all ends in the Church's pocket. They already preach the divine right of kings. If only one crowned by the Pope counts as a lawful king, then who truly rules this land, us or them? And my father can see in me a hope. A kingdom where the royal house alone holds all power, free of the Church's grip. Then his choice becomes clear.
Trading making an enemy of the whole world for making an enemy of the Church alone was far easier to swallow, especially since Barov already stood on the royal side.
Likewise, once he understands that these people with strange abilities are the lever to pry open the Church, the hunting decree becomes a scrap of paper. On one side, no possibility at all. On the other, a possibility greater than zero. Tell me, is the risk worth taking?
Roland fixed his eyes on the minister's assistant and spoke word by word.
Do not doubt my decision, Barov. You have been an assistant minister for 20 years, have you not? If I can become Wimbledon IV, the word assistant disappears from your title. Or perhaps one step further. How does Hand of the King sound?
Watching Barov's retreating back as he took his leave, Roland quietly let out a breath. He could see the man did not take his promise too seriously. That was normal. Even Roland himself did not believe the grandiose plan he had just improvised would actually work. But that did not matter at all. The key was to make Barov believe he truly thought this way. A crude plan such as a wastrel might conceive. It fit the fourth prince's hatred of the Church perfectly, and it paved the road for recruiting more witches in the days to come. As for what Roland truly thought, even if they knew, they could never understand.
Tire, ask Miss Anna to come see me.
Roland called for the maid. Next, it was time to get down to real work. He was positively brimming with enthusiasm.